Hello, you're listening to Reviewing History, your comedy history podcast. I'm filmmaker and teacher Brian Rupert, joined here by...
As always, Stephen Davey.
And?
Angie.
How we doing, folks?
Great.
Good. You're very upbeat
In a
at the
good
moment.
mood.
Yeah. Wow, what's going on?
Haven't recorded in a while.
It feels like
guys.
forever.
See us?
Feels like
I'm
forever.
always happy to see my friends, my best friends.
Wow.
I would
My best
defend
friend.
Texas to the death with you guys.
Oh, that's nice.
A place I've never been,
Yeah.
but I would take up in a missionary with you guys and
Yeah.
defend it to the
A
death.
mission.
A mission.
I would definitely go out as a
In
courier.
a missionary
Very-
beyond.
Yeah.
I would go out as a courier
We're all
and,
just
you know, not return. I would not return as the courier.
Mm.
Not
Oh,
because the general told me to, but just because
You're a treacherous
I'm not
scum.
going.
Yeah, so we missed a week, but we're back. That was my fault. I screwed up the schedule.
That's all right.
Well, we usually have at least 1 week that we miss a year, right? So
Well, this is only the second week we've ever missed.
really?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think we did 3.
No.
Oh.
No, this
Look
is-
at us go.
We're doing all right. Most shows miss like 10.
Yeah.
Do they?
I'm
Wait,
just. I
We're
pulled that-
allowed to
I
have
pulled that
breaks.
number out of the
Is
air.
that like a,
No.
we're
Yeah.
allowed to have
Most
breaks?
shows take off for like holidays.
Yeah, we're supposed
We're
to.
here rain or shine, like the post office.
Oh man, we're like Costner.
Postman, Tom Petty. But today we're doing one of the biggest flops of all time.
Is it really?
Huge.
I know it was a flop, but it's one of the biggest of all time.
What
Yes.
was the budget for this?
budget was $107 million in 2004.
Wow.
Yeesh.
It was up against Passion of the Christ.
That's what did it in.
That's what fucked.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll do it.
They put because the Passion of the Christ audience may have went to see
Right.
this,
It's the
Mhm.
same audience.
but they all were Jesused out,
They were
and they didn't have time for
They had to
Texas.
pick just one.
Yeah,
I
Plus,
mean,
I'm kind of remembering the time when this came out, and
you're remembering the Alamo.
yeah, I'm remembering the Alamo.
Yeah.
I feel like there was like a backlash to this movie. A, because apparently it's very different from the 1960 version, which I've never seen, and
Yes.
people love. That's the John Wayne movie.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think there was like this thing where people were mad, unless like revisionist historians, which were very big at the time. This is the Jon Stewart era, where everyone has to hate America. They were mad that like it didn't shit on them. Like you were
Yes.
supposed to hate them. And I honestly like thought I might have been misremembering that when I was watching the movie, because I thought it was gonna go that way. And it didn't. Plus there's this episode of King of the Hill, which I think came out around the same time, right? Where Bobby gets a new textbook. It's like the
Okay.
first new textbook they've gotten in years.
Yeah.
And
Oh boy.
there's nothing in it about the Alamo.
I
So-
tell you what, Bobby.
So they hire a like a playwright to make a play, like a reenactment of the Alamo, and then all it is just him like talking about them being slaves and being cowards and like we need to surrender. So I think that was in the air at the time. I don't know.
Well,
But
I
this
also,
movie, it doesn't do that, thankfully.
I have a thought about that too, because I was thinking about it when I was watching this. This was put out by Disney.
Yeah, that's
In 2004.
That's
And it actually isn't shocking when you think of the history of the Disney company,
Okay.
because from Disney's
they
inception
had the Davey Crockett show, right?
until this, they were all about American mythology
Yeah.
and American exceptionalism.
Mhm.
And they put out Swamp Fox, they put out Davey Crockett,
But that was so long ago.
but they had a
Yeah.
history of it. They put
Yeah.
out Pecos Bill.
Right.
They put out in the 90s that fucking American folklore movie, Tall Tales. Do you know this?
I don't even know about
No.
Tall Tales.
So all right, it's a
What about
90s.
Stallion of the Cimarron?
That one I don't know. But Tall Tale is a movie I saw in theaters in the 90s. And the premise is all of the American urban legends and tall tales.
Like Paul Bunyan?
Paul Bunyan.
Johnny Appleseed.
No, Paul Bunyan, Pecos Bill, and who's the black guy with the trains?
John Henry.
John Henry. They're like
He's a steel driving man.
the three of them are together with like this kid, and they have to do something.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure you're seeing a trailer now if you're watching. But it was a 90s kids movie. So they had
Remember
a hit.
Indian in the Cupboard?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell him, Steve Dave, I watched them record today. They were talking about Indian in the
That's
Cupboard.
bizarre. One
weird.
time I was at Applebee's and our gay manager was walking by, and the GU, who is the guy
The
in
dishwasher.
yeah, the
Dishwasher.
dishwasher, who's just a dumb guy. He's like randomly asked him, "Hey, Lewis." Lewis was the
Well,
manager.
because everyone was talking about that movie. Like, do you remember this from the 90s?
Yeah.
Like,
He was
stuff
like, "Hey,
like
Lewis,
that?
you ever see Indian in the Cupboard?" And the gay manager thought it was some kind
gay
of
joke.
gay like slam. He was legitimately asking me if he ever saw the movie, but he thought it was like he was in the closet or something.
And he like berated. The
Yeah,
guy.
he got really upset.
You ever see anything in the cupboard? Shut your mouth.
Who did this? Whoever did this, you implicated yourself. No, but Disney had a history for a long time until this of putting out stories about American heroism and American heroes.
Right.
And after this flopped, they said, "Yup, we're all bullshit from here on out."
You think this was the movie that changed the direction of the company?
This is the death knell of them doing that shit.
Wow.
Because it was such a flop.
But it was up against Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do?
Look, I think it's a scheduling mistake. Because the movie is good.
The movie's fine.
I loved it.
And it actually got mostly bad reviews at the time, except for Roger Ebert. He gave it a good review. Everyone else gave it a shit one.
The guy who doxed the woman from the Jason movie.
No, that's Siskel. But yeah, Ebert gave it a good review, and like no one else did. And I think because this was such a big failure that Disney backed off like these types of stories.
Had you seen it before?
I had never seen it, and I've wanted to see it for years.
Same. Like I was like, this was always something I like had to get around to.
It's like shocking me and you didn't like put this on in like 2007.
And it's right when all those movies were coming out, like the history
3:10 to Yuma.
No, not even like the westerns. I mean like Kingdom of Heaven or Troy or that shit.
What's in the middle of the epic shit?
Yeah.
I could see everything about this says like this should have made money.
Everything about this says Aunt Brian should have watched this like
definitely
4 or 5 times.
And it's got great actors and there's some great performances. I think Billy Bob fucking kills it.
Billy Bob's
amazing.
probably the
Crockett.
best in this.
Yeah. And I always like Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson.
Every time he pops up, I'm happy to see him.
Dude,
I gotta say,
he was treating those Mexicans like they were a bunch of demons.
Yeah.
He was trying to exorcise them from Texas.
I gotta say, he's very weak in this as an actor.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you think he's too young?
I think that not too young, but you could see like the exact character development through his like acting career. It hasn't changed. It's always been this.
He kind of is.
You know what I mean?
I feel like he plays himself.
Yeah. And it's like everyone else is kind of above
I still
that
want to
here.
see Patrick Wilson play George Washington at some point. I think he'd be great. I think
well, he's aged into it.
when we
already saw him.
When we write and direct our George Washington epic film, I want Patrick Wilson in a starring role.
He's the only one that can do it.
Yeah.
So I did some research about the movie, and it actually originally had another half hour of movie. It was a 3-hour movie, and they had much more detail about Sam Houston.
Oh, and San Jacinto.
No, not even San Jacinto, setting up like
Battles.
the world, which I think is the biggest problem with the movie.
Yeah.
Is that if you don't understand what is happening and why,
You
it's
don't.
very
Yeah,
easy.
they don't explain what this is.
Like
they expect the audience to know it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Which-
agreed.
I think I knew it at the time, and I was a kid. You know.
But you're smart.
Did you not know about this?
This area, I'll be honest, of American history, I always get a little confused about the timeline and when things happen.
Things happen fast.
So much happened.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I know Texas Revolution, and then they become a state, but, you know. So I guess let's start with the background, right?
Yeah, okay. So, Napoleon takes Spain. I'll go back that far.
All right.
When that happens, all of the Spanish colonies in the New World don't know what to do with themselves. And there are a lot of independence movements. Now, the Viceroyalty of New Spain, you know what? I have to go back before that, actually, because it's not the Mexicans who invite the Americans to immigrate into Tejas, but in fact, the Spanish.
Really?
Because
they controlled the whole world, right?
What, they
before
wanted
then.
more white people?
No. Well, sort of. Texas had been occupied by Europeans since the 1500s.
Okay.
So we're 400 years into colonization at this point, but it's very sparse. In fact, Fun little story. The reason there are wild horses in North America is because
This I know.
the original Spanish colony in Texas got destroyed by Indians. They killed everyone there and let the horses loose. Next thing you know, a couple of decades
They
later,
breed. And
there's wild horses all over the continent. But the Spanish realized that they were going to have a really hard time governing that region because, one, it's far away from the centers of power in Mexico City and Veracruz and places like that. It's way to the south. So you need to populate it. And Mexico and the Viceroyalty of Spain, of New Spain, always had a problem with being stable. Like, there's just too much...
They're like a girl with blue hair.
Yeah,
Had a problem being stable.
There's too many conflicting views of where they want to, what they want to do, and what they want to be.
I'm going to get shit for that joke.
You're gonna shit for that,
Especially in the 19th century, which I think Mexico had one of the hardest 19th centuries ever, like of the world. They had some bad times.
It's not a party.
It's yeah, we learned all about it back then.
The Cinco de Mayo episode.
But their solution to governing Tejas, because Tejas is constantly being raided by Apache.
And when you say
and
Tejas,
Creek.
you meant
Jose
mean
Tejas
Texas.
in Jersey.
Yeah, not Jose Tejas, the beloved Mexican
Mexican
restaurant.
food restaurant.
So they very much encouraged outsiders to come and live in Texas and populate it. They had some stipulations. They wanted you to learn Spanish. They wanted you to become Catholic. And they wanted you to swear allegiance to Spain or later to Mexico. Obviously, the closest people nearby that are going to take them up on this, because this is great land there.
Yeah.
You know, it's an amazing place.
Nice golf.
You can make some money.
Good.
It was completely flooded, not only by people from southern Mexico and Europeans, because there are Europeans, not as many, but like a lot of Scots and Welshmen, stuff like that. I think there's some French, but overwhelmingly the immigrant group that comes to Tejas are Southern Americans.
Mhm.
Slaveholding Southern
Yes, they're like,
Americans.
oh, you think you could get rid of our slaves?
Yeah, then that's another thing. The once you know, by
writing
the
starts-
time we get to the period we're talking about, slavery's been outlawed in Mexico,
Yeah.
which they are not going to comply with.
They're like, yeah, fuck you.
They'll fight a whole war against the USA over the
Yeah.
same exact thing. They have no problem shitting on the nation that they have no
Respect
allegiance to
for,
or
yeah.
respect for. Yeah. The New Spain goes into revolt. They win their independence. They fight a war over it. It's a bloody war.
Santa Anna is a leader, right?
No.
This
So that's the early part of the century.
Okay.
That's like the teens. Santa Anna becomes like he's like a aristocrat.
Well, he has like a funny trajectory because he starts as like a federalist.
Everything.
Yeah. all right.
Let me just say this. Everything you read about Santa Anna and like find out about him is he really doesn't have any ideology. He's a guy who advocates for whatever gives him more authority and power all the time, whatever he needs to say. Like Spain had an emperor for a brief period that got ousted by the Federalists, and he led the Federalists.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's like he starts as a federalist, then he becomes like I forget, like a centrist.
Yeah.
And then his final stance is
Like-
I'm dictator.
Yes. Santa Anna is for Santa Anna, and he'll do whatever he needs. That's why he's the Napoleon of the West.
Yes.
Not just his military acumen, but as well as his ability to just manipulate
Whatever I gotta do to
situations.
rise to the
Yeah,
top.
Right.
And make the same mistakes in hindsight.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got tapped by the Federalists who wanted to get rid of the empire to lead a coup. He does that. And then, you know, long story, long complicated political Mexican story, short. This will all turn into Santa Anna just pretty much takes over the government and does what he wants. He has what's called the 7 laws, which are like the intolerable acts.
Okay.
Where he
List out grievances.
imposes his own like tyrannical laws on Mexico.
Okay.
The Americans living
Can I
in
ask you a
in
question about him?
Tejas-
Is he like well revered today by Mexicans?
I don't know. You'd have to talk to a Mexican.
Okay.
I think he's probably a dubious character because he has as many victories as he has losses. He's known in America for losing this.
That's his.
But it's not his like only thing. Like he could be viewed in his early years anyway as saving the country. He does put down multiple rebellions. He has 11 presidencies over a career that spans like 50 years. He doesn't go away. Like this doesn't end him.
No, I know. He
gets out. He loses the dictatorship and like has to go into exile in Staten Island and invent gum.
Right.
But
that's right. He goes to Staten Island.
Goes to Staten Island to invent fucking chiclets.
My greatest legacy.
But he comes back. Like he's there fighting the Americans when during the Mexican-American War. He takes over the government again. Yeah, he's a crazy guy, very interesting dude. I think he's too old in the movie.
I thought that.
I think they wanted to juxtapose him from Patrick Wilson.
They made him like a mustache twirling villain in this.
Oh, he's such an evil bastard.
Yeah, which is not really what he was.
The movie needed it, though. I think.
I can't find like monuments.
Like they even have this scene where he's like, "I need to have sex with this young town."
He's a rapist.
Yeah.
Like, I guess, but there's not a lot of. There's like portraits, like paintings, but there's no real statues of him, which leads me to believe like if it is, it's like small.
Maybe he's not.
Maybe he's not as revered as somebody else.
Because it seems like he should be like their Washington.
No, he's not because he oppresses them.
Yeah,
too.
Okay.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
So it's like, it's like if Washington went bad.
Yeah,
it's like if Washington was like, I like these intolerable acts.
I'll give him this. He kept Mexico going. You know, like he gave them a little for the time he was around. He gave them some stability that they really lacked through that whole period. It's not even like you can argue they still don't have.
He sounds very pro. He sounds like pro Santa Ana guy. Yeah,
like straight up, I think he's cool.
If you were
I like great men warrior types.
If you were gonna choose like one fascist to live under, you'd be okay with Santa Ana. Like one dictator that would.
We got his leg.
We have his leg.
Yeah, we got Santa Ana's leg.
Why?
Where?
Why?
So during
we want a dictator's leg when they're like cutting up Hitler. We have dictator's leg at home.
We have dogs hump it occasionally just to insult his spirit.
During the Mexican-American War, he had lost his leg in like a battle against like rebels, I think, and he had a wooden leg. And during the Mexican-American War, he was forced to flee. Like the American troops were hot on his tail and he had to run away and he had no time to go back for his leg. And the Illinois regulars captured his leg. It is on display in like Illinois somewhere.
That's awesome.
In like the Capitol building as like a war trophy. But yeah, he's an interesting dude. I'll just say that.
So yeah. And anyway, so
when you got all these Americans in, they start drafting like constitutions and trying to
bring the American system of government,
particularly Stephen Austin. Who I don't think he's in the movie, unless that's supposed to be him in the very beginning, where Sam Houston says to a guy, "You make a country, and I'll fight the war."
He's not in the movie.
Yeah.
We would have seen him just pumping out,
drinking
beers.
beer.
So they would have spraying Bud
I'll
everywhere.
tell you what, you get that son of a bitch Santa Ana over here. I'm going to give him a stone cold stunner.
His family, who are Americans, his father had brought them to Texas back in the early 1800s. And they've become very wealthy and they're prominent citizens. And he actually goes to Mexico City and tries to reason and make like a acceptable living, arrangement with the Mexican government, and they pretty much tell him to go fuck himself.
They want their own independent.
They want some level of autonomy and a they want it to be like the United States, which isn't going to happen.
And there was no way the U.S. was not gonna come west and take it eventually.
Eventually, that probably would have. Once Manifest Destiny becomes the thing. and you got a guy like James K. Polk in office, which is
Yeah.
decades down the road, but everyone kind of sees it coming. Santa Anna sees it coming. He wants to stomp this Texas thing out to show the Americans that he can't be trifled.
So there's no roots.
Yeah.
That was his first mistake.
And he actually, in the beginning anyway, like the Texans win a bunch of battles and take the city of San Antonio because he's busy. He's in the South fighting another rebellion. So he's got like shit to do all over the place.
He has to put down rebels while dealing with this shit.
Yeah, right. This is the big one, though. This was going to chop off a massive piece of territory. Mexico is fucking huge, by the way.
Oh, it's gigantic.
Yeah.
That's the other problem Santa Anna really has.
Yeah.
Because with Europe, it's these giant, densely populated areas tightly together. Mexico has a small population and is a giant area.
Yeah. And especially, well, this is the biggest Mexico ever was.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like his like you could fit almost all of Europe inside Mexico.
Yes,
at this point,
it's like his to have his army of much limited numbers.
Yes, there's not a big population.
It's near impossible what he's trying to do.
Yeah,
it's just not feasible.
Yeah. Your empire gets too big, you always have a problem.
Like you have got a guy like Napoleon who is not a contemporary, but he was around like 15 years, 20 years before this. He's spending thousands of soldiers a day. You know, they'll throw they'll have these giant battles. You look at like Leipzig or Austerlitz or even Waterloo, especially Waterloo, actually, where if you lose 5,000 men, it doesn't really matter because he's got them. If you lose 1,000 men in the Mexican army at this time, war's over, guys.
Well, this is what happens. This is what happens at the Alamo.
Right.
At the Alamo, he has a force of 1,000 men. About 500 are killed.
Right.
Taking it.
Which is why he's so hesitant to attack it straight on.
And that's why San Wasita whatever. You know what I mean? The next thing, that's why Sam Houston is able to whoop his ass so easily.
Yeah, well, he's forced him to split the army, which is a mistake. Yeah.
But I think that's all the background, right?
Yeah, we can talk about where we're at.
We also have to mention, and I guess this is kind of the intro to the movie, why the Alamo's even there, right? It was a mission. Yeah. 1718, it was a Spanish mission, but because of the location, it's such a good location for fortification, it never really was used for a mission, and it's just constantly a fort.
They turned it into a fort, yeah.
Which most I don't know if everybody knows it was supposed to be a mission. Like I feel most people think it was always a fort.
Right. San Antonio is on the current border between Texas and Mexico.
Okay.
Hey, San Antonio.
That's me. What about Antonio Lopez de Santa Ana?
That's why you like.
They got my boy in the front.
Yeah.
St. Francis.
Yeah, St. Francis
They do.
is on the mission.
It's my favorite saint.
Yeah, so let's talk about the movie, I guess.
I don't like this choice.
To open with the battle? Like the aftermath?
Yeah.
I actually think it's smart because everyone knows.
Everyone knows they're dead.
Yeah, but
do you think there's anyone who's
you
going
see all the characters dead already? It's like, well, I'm not gonna feel as much.
But no one buying a ticket doesn't know that outcome, right? Like
I don't think anyone it's one of the most famous.
I know,
battles.
Especially buying a ticket to it. Like,
but I think it's more effective if you get to know and like the characters and the relationships, and then you see it, as opposed to like seeing it happen and then getting to know them. It takes it away from it.
No, I think it is a good choice, and here's why. Because the movie has an impending sense of doom as you watch these men almost wait for the inevitable. They all know they're going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's them kind of coming to terms with their lives, their legacies, and all this shit as they're preparing to die. It's fucking great character shit.
Yeah, I think it's very good.
Yeah.
I think it should have just been linear. I like that better.
So the movie jumps back to Dennis Quaid.
Fucking Quaid
as
man.
Sam Houston a year earlier.
Yes, the Texas George Washington.
What do we know about Sam Houston? Where did this guy come from? What's his deal?
He's a failed congressman, I think. Or was he a senator? I don't know. Look that up.
He's a businessman.
But he's looking to make a buck.
Yeah, he's a businessman.
You know,
he's
you
recruiting
can tell
he was the governor of Tennessee.
Governor of Tennessee.
And he was a member of the House.
Yeah. I know he has a similar trajectory to Davey Crockett. Like Davey Crockett, another Tennessee man.
Yes.
He became insanely famous and a folk hero by being a self-promoting frontiersman. You know, he wrote his own autobiography.
Sam Houston?
No, Davey Crockett.
Davey Crockett. He wrote his own autobiography?
So, like, the movie portrays him as, like, almost, like, not wanting his fame or not liking it.
Like his legacy?
Yeah, but he built that. He definitely had a hand to play. It didn't just spark out of nowhere.
Well, that was my question about Davey Crockett. Like, obviously, there's all these stories about him.
Mm-hmm. He is a guy who came from absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. Like, his family was literally living on the frontier, you know, in a dirt shack. And
Tennessee wasn't even like a state yet.
No, it's the wilderness.
Yeah.
And they claw their way into being respectable people. And to the point where he had office. He's the only guy who voted against
the Indian removal.
Yes.
And that was the end of his career.
Killed him. Well, it wasn't a popular thing to do. He felt it was right. Andrew Jackson now has a target on him.
He's like, fuck you.
And you have the American Napoleon, like the real guy who's actually like one of the closest American ever got to having a dictator is Andrew Jackson. And he's like, Davey Crockett, you're fucking done. So his political career was over. So his last resort was going to Texas.
It's pretty nuts, though, to be the only guy.
The only guy. Yeah.
It shows that he has some level of like internal integrity. Yeah. Because it's not easy to do that.
He felt it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Obviously, he has a relationship with Indians, and he's lived among them his whole life.
Yeah.
He was fought in the Red Stick War, which they talk about in the movie.
Yeah. What is that exactly?
It's a big Indian uprising. These would happen from time to time. They massacred
the Creek.
Yeah, the Creeks massacred a town of white settlers, and in retaliatory, you know, they put together a posse, a militia to go after them, and they cornered them, like killed a bunch of them. There's a massacre.
Okay.
The Red Sticks were like the Indians who were fighting. They're known as the Red Sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not worth getting deep into those.
Yeah, we don't need to. It's just it's an Indian thing.
Yeah.
And then he also served as like a militia guy.
Yeah.
Under Andrew Jackson, I believe, right? Or he was involved in the War of 1812.
I'm sure he was. I don't know what his service was there, though.
I believe he
might have been too young. He might have been too young. Because we're talking 1830s now. No, he probably was there. I don't know. I really don't know.
So the War of 1812 was waged concurrently with the Creek War.
Okay, yeah. So he was doing that.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, the Red Sticks were backed by Spain, Britain.
Yeah, he fought after the Treaty of Fort Jackson. He went with Andrew Jackson as a Tennessee militiaman and fought.
Was he out in New Orleans?
Sorry, Crockett reenlisted as a third sergeant for the 6-month term with Tennessee Mounted Gunmen under Captain Joe Cowan. Crockett's unit saw little of the main action because they were days behind the rest of the troops, and they were focused on foraging for food. You know, he did scout stuff, but he was involved.
He killed him a bear when he was only 3.
Yep. I believe it.
What a man.
American folk hero legend. Yeah. Everybody knows the song.
He's probably the first American celebrity.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you want to say like George Washington or
probably
Grant.
first.
I am.
Yeah.
Well, Grant's after.
Yeah, Grant's after.
Celebrity who wasn't a like conquering force, maybe.
Maybe Lewis and Clark.
Well, he's a guy. I've heard he's the first celebrity too, because he's a
guy who was there for like pop culture.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
pop culture celebrity.
Like he's writing his own stuff, and there's
they're making plays about it.
Yeah. I found this piece of information pretty startling. Where if you join the militia, you get 640 acres. How many acres are in Texas? Can you search that?
Sure.
Because how much
land in the whole state?
Yeah, how much could they have possibly been able to give away? 640 acres is a lot.
Do you realize how big Texas is?
Yeah, but that's why I know. But that's why I'm curious how much they could have gave away.
Texas has 261,200 263 square miles of land. It has 142 million acres of private farms. And then there's 3 million federal acres of land and 13 acres of state land. So there's a shitload of
So you can give away as many acres as you want.
Yes. Oof. It's huge. Yeah, it sounds like that's like a town, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. 640.
No, it's
640 acres is a town.
Texas is absurd. You could fit like England,
Europe.
France,
Yeah,
Spain.
you can fit Europe
Yeah.
in Texas. Yeah. That's sick.
But yeah, all these guys get together and they get on board with starting this revolution. And it plays out kind of similar to the American Revolution. You know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like,
They
they're
had a bunch of wasps together.
bunch of wasps fighting a bigger, more professional army
Yeah.
than they are.
That's what they love to do.
You get them together,
They're good at
get them drinking, writing
Yeah.
some shit down.
Right.
This is the end result.
Getting some fucking interesting characters to run it.
Yeah.
He is a knife fighter. He's got his own
He's got a
personal
big
giant knife.
Bowie. Probably the most famous knife ever. A Bowie
Oh,
knife?
I think so. If I have to say name a knife, it's
You're going Bowie, yeah.
yeah.
All right. Yeah. So the Alamo.
There's a play, Mr. Crockett.
Mm-hmm.
They're all doing it, and they're voting on whether Houston is going to be the leader or not.
Yeah.
And he calls someone a pedo, and and I was like, politics hasn't changed much.
We get Patrick
You're a
Wilson.
catamite, sir.
What's a catamite?
What's a cat?
You get William Travis, played by Patrick Wilson.
Yes.
He's
Yes.
making some cool like war outfits.
And abandoning his wife. and
He's getting
child.
divorced. He's
Zoe Deschanel's sister.
I
He was-
thought that was her.
Yeah,
he was a
it's Bones.
trailblazer for the modern age. You know,
Yeah, Colonel
I have
Travis.
abandoned my child.
abandoned my boy.
Colonel Travis is an Alabama man,
Mhm.
and he brings all of his Alabama-ness to Texas. By that I mean
Means slavery.
he loves slaves.
Which they don't go into it as much in the movie because he's
Yeah, they made him so nice.
If you look into his
Well, he is a hero at the Alamo.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
if you
he's
look into
nice.
his real history, it's like one of the reasons he went to Texas specifically was so he could be more proficient as a slave
I need
catcher.
more
Yeah.
slaves.
It was specifically to catch like
Yeah.
runaway slaves.
Yeah. Oh, Travis.
Oh.
He's the guy that kind of gets overshadowed in the events. As far as like real history,
Yeah.
because you've heard of Bowie, you heard of Crockett.
I've heard of him too, but like
Very-
I really was
not as much,
unfamiliar
yeah,
with
not
him.
as
Yeah.
much.
Bowie and Crockett are famous outside of the Alamo.
That's the thing.
you know? And then Sam Houston is the guy.
Yeah.
He's the central figure of all of this.
Yeah.
He's the guy that they're going to name cities after.
All right, ready?
You know?
Rank the Texas cities right now, best to worst. I know you've never been to
I've
any
never
of them.
been to any of them.
Yeah, but you got to rank them.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm just going to tell you what they are: Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Houston,
San Jose,
San Jose. San Jose is in California.
is it?
Yeah, those are the big four:
Say him again.
Dallas, Houston.
What about El Paso?
El Paso.
Oh, all right, hold on, wait. So Dallas, Austin, San Antonio,
Austin's
Houston,
on the bottom.
Austin,
Austin sucks.
El Paso. So those are the six.
San Juan. Wait, no, San Jose.
Jose's California.
San Jose is an island in Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know, Brian. I don't
you,
know
you
anything.
can't just come up with a
Houston's number one. I'm going
Houston's
Houston
number one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dallas.
Dallas.
Dallas seems terrible.
All we know is Austin's last.
Yeah,
Arlen. I vote for Arlen.
Arlen.
Yeah, Arlen, Texas.
that's King of the Hill.
Yeah.
Right here. All right. Sorry.
Rank 'em.
I don't know. So Houston is like kind of against like putting dudes in the Alamo.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
he has this line where it's like forts are useless to us.
I want my counter back.
I don't agree. Yeah.
Forts are so powerful. We've learned on this show
It's a force multiplier.
that it's.
But
you
I
can
guess
hold it
his-
for weeks.
His philosophy is to use the land to his advantage.
Yes.
And kind of draw the Mexican army out and just keep it moving and make them tire themselves out. So I guess that's what works for him, and he knows better than me, certainly. But I would immediately be like, well, they have more men than me. we need to build fortifications.
Yes.
That would be my gut.
But I guess
thing.
the thought process is if we put everything into the Alamo,
We're not
then they
getting it out.
surround it.
Yeah.
Well,
you know?
he orders the Alamo abandoned, and they
Yes.
refuse to do it. And the reason they refuse to do it, in the movie they make it seem like it has this sentimental value, is because they just took it. They spent some blood taking it over. They had to fight a battle.
It's a
They
fairly
lost men.
critical position.
Right.
Like,
And
you
they're
don't want
like,
to just lose that
no,
area.
this is our prize. We won this. We're not giving it up. So that's why those guys stay there.
On top of that, I think Houston is wrong in that thought process. Because
He's clearly not, because he wins.
well, hold on. No, well, he won this time. But we've seen time and time again on this show that if you have a fort and that force multiplier, you can hold out with 10% of the men and really just wear down an army. And that's what happened here. And that's why Houston was able to take them out so quickly.
To counter that, though, we've also seen Khartoum where they get starved out and
I think that's you
Sure.
You can win that way if someone's coming to rescue you.
Yes.
But if
they
no one's
were.
coming, no, but they weren't.
But they could have. They could have got there quicker if they just didn't wait.
The Alamo definitely, a lot more Mexicans died at the Alamo than Americans.
Yes.
Than
Right.
Texicans.
Now imagine if they had an extra 100 men.
Sure, what they could have done.
They might have taken out the whole army.
It may have been it was a victory for Santa Anna that may have cost them the war.
Yeah.
I
Possibly.
think
It did.
it didn't help them.
Yeah.
So where are we? So Wilson abandons his family.
Quaid wants his cannon back.
Quaid.
And Bowie returns to San Antonio.
Yes.
And that's his home. He has a home there, and you get a nice little flashback of like better times. And now it's destroyed with bullet holes.
Yes, he's dancing with the senorita.
Yes.
Yeah. And Travis also arrives at the same time to check out the Alamo, see what the deal is. Like, what is this? You know,
And
scout the area.
he technically outranks Bowie.
Lieutenant Colonel, right? Then Bowie's just the Colonel.
Right.
And that's supposedly that's real. Like they didn't see eye to eye.
Mm-hmm.
And they have that scene with the cannonball with the where Travis kind of like earns their respect.
Yes.
He's not scared to grab a lit fuse.
It's a good scene.
Yeah. Cool.
That's when you're like, all right, Travis, you're okay.
Yeah. He's a soldier, you know?
Yeah.
He's
you also have
dandy.
Davey Crockett, who shows up not realizing the battle's still going on.
He's like, I thought we won.
Yeah.
And they this is what I was talking about. Like they're hinting at him being a coward.
Mm-hmm. Well, not a
Because
coward,
that
but
was
confused.
the whole thing. Like there's I think it comes from one of the Mexican soldiers. In
well,
a memoir he
that's
wrote.
the big thing that pissed people off with the movie. Is there's a big thing where some people think that he died in the battle.
He died fighting.
And then the other thing is that he was captured. And this comes
And
from
begged for forgiveness.
the memoirs, which were written by Jose Enrique de la Peña,
Yeah.
an officer in Santa Anna's army. It doesn't say that he begged forgiveness. It says that he was captured.
Begged for his life. Yeah.
Oh, really? That he begged? I thought he didn't write that he begged. I thought it's just that he was captured.
I'm not sure.
No, it
But
wasn't.
that definitely was something that was going around at the time
I think it was
when the
rumor.
movie came out.
Yeah, I think it was a rumor, but it was that he was captured, which
Right.
is what this first officer wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he wrote that he was begged, and then he was killed by Santa Anna. Supposedly, exactly what you see in the movie is what he wrote.
Oh, really?
Where like
I thought it was more like they split the difference, and it's like he got captured, but then he tells Santa Anna to go fuck himself. Yeah.
You can surrender to me if you want, and then just bayonet his ass.
Yeah, there was no way he was getting out of that alive.
Well, no, it's
I
like
don't think he was expecting.
well, the
to.
whole movie, right, is like he's kind of not very charming, Crockett. Like he's at a low point in his life. He lost his election. He's down and out. He's leaving his country, you know, and like he's kind of down and out on his luck.
I wouldn't say he wasn't charming. I think he was very charming. I just think he wasn't like he was down and out. He was charming as fuck.
He wasn't living up to the legend and the image of him. And it's in that moment at the end where like they're getting ready to kill him. That's when he finally embraces the Davey Crockett aura.
Yeah.
And he's
He
like,
becomes the legend.
and he's like, go fuck yourself. Like, even though I die here,
Mhm.
I'm going to be fucking.
But then again, they also have the scene where he actually earned that reputation as well with the sniper.
Oh, yes.
He shoots off Santa Anna's fucking shoulder
proves his
patch. And he's like,
marksmanship,
he's like,
yeah.
this is where it kind of came from. Like,
Yeah.
he has skills.
Oh, definitely.
You know, he's a fighter.
He's not a fraud.
No.
You know?
So this guy writes that he wrote that him and his platoon surrendered at the end, were captured, and then executed.
Right.
Movie has them do a
Santa Anna
charge.
did a whole lot of executing.
At will, yeah.
If you look at the Battle of Goliad, which happens either right after this, or right around the same time as the Alamo, he captures like most of a keep saying American Texan army, and executes everyone, 350 prisoners, I think. And this, along with the Alamo, is like puts the real fucking steel in Houston's army. Like, we need to, and that's why they're so brutal at San Jacinto.
Goliad is forgotten, but it's actually the next sentence after remember the Alamo. The charge is actually remember the Alamo, remember Goliad.
Yeah, right.
And people always forget about that because Davey Crockett and Bowie didn't die there.
Right.
So it's like, they had way more fire there.
That'll do it. Can't just execute people.
So Davey Crockett gets there, and there's like all this shit going on outside of camp. The Mexicans execute people, which I guess is the kind of the stand-in for Goliad. The movie.
They have that scene of them like on the march.
Yeah.
Well, they say like, let's kill. Who are we executing? He's like, all of them.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, it'll give him fire.
And some of his officers are like, don't do that.
Yeah, like it's gonna backfire, and he's like, I don't care, do it.
Yeah.
I'm brutal.
Yeah, I'm evil. This we have to discuss. Crockett kills it on the fiddle.
Dude, the man can play
Come
a fiddle.
In this scene, he's at a
fiddling is
party
great.
going hard fiddling, and everyone's dancing.
It's the second best fiddle we've seen on this program.
Yeah.
What was the best?
Master and Commander.
Oh, yeah.
But also at this party, that's kind of where you see the infighting between, the parties.
Yeah.
And Travis is...
well, he's like, let's vote.
Yeah.
And it's like the most embarrassing thing ever. Nobody votes
his
for
own
you.
men are like, you're not good.
Yeah, it's like, no, we're going with Bowie, dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, well, it's like his token thing. He's like, well, you can only lead the militia. I'm still in charge of the military.
Yeah, they're like, we know.
And Bowie's like, you're changing the rules, you fucking loser.
Oh, look at my knife.
And the bell is ringing because Santa Anna has arrived.
They're surrounding their location. Surrounded
by these Mexicans.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up.
I've been waiting for it.
I thought about this yesterday. I'm going to tell this story.
We have to.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
Yeah. So this is something I've been holding on to for a while now.
We've teased it in the past.
Yeah.
I went to...
you got to give a little more backstory.
I'm giving everything.
All right.
Give it all.
I went to Intermediate School 34. IS 34 in Staten Island, New York, for middle school. Okay. There was a teacher there. His name was Charles Mitri. His friends called him Charlie.
Not Chuck?
He's not a piece of dog food. Okay. I never had him. I never had
he was never
Mr. Mitri.
Your teacher.
But I was in the room next door to his for my history class every day in the 7th grade. My friend Mike was in Mitri's class and loved this man. Now, Mitri was an interesting character.
He's the only person in the world to ever love this man.
I agree.
I had his class too. I was in his class.
You knew Mitri.
I had
everyone I know who ever had Mitri tortured him and abused him.
I never abused him. I actually felt a lot of sympathy for him.
Mitri was probably in his 40s at the time. He loved playing guitar. He loved rock and roll. He had a horrible speech impediment. He talked like Beth. He would write his own songs.
One would say he might have been special needs.
He was a teacher. He was a history teacher. He loved history. Absolutely loved history.
He was a teacher, but he might have been.
He would have loved the show.
Might have been.
Yeah, probably.
Might have been a little bit on a spectrum.
He would wet his pants.
Yeah.
On an almost daily
Every
basis.
day.
At school as a teacher.
Yes.
While playing guitar.
Around middle school students.
Yes.
You're asking to be abused.
Yes.
And as far as I know, he was very much not well liked by the faculty at the school. Okay?
Can't imagine why.
So, for whatever subject Mr. Mitri was teaching, he tended to write a song about it. And then he would perform it in the class. Now, I didn't have the class, but I know all the songs. because
Signs.
I was in the room next door, so I would hear all the songs. You sing, yes, you'd play signs everywhere, signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can't you
remember it
see a
vividly.
sign? So like, and he would hand out the lyrics to the songs to the class.
Read along.
So he wrote one about the Vikings,
Yeah.
and it was called "Thrashing Oars," and he would go, "Thrashing oars forevermore, Viking ships," and then he'd point at the class upon the, and he'd wait, and the kids would have to go, "Sure."
Yep.
So one of his songs was called "Last Man Standing," and "Last Man Standing" was about the Alamo.
Yeah.
And it went like this. Last man standing, surrounded by these Mexicans. That's the part I remember. Right. And it went on like that.
I got.
How
was he allowed?
Yeah. So
Keep going.
8th grade. No, still 7th. No, 8th grade.
It goes to
8th grade. There was a girl in the school. I'm not going to say her name.
Yeah, you don't need to.
Let's call her
Liz.
Liz. Okay. Liz, I had known. She was in my 4th grade class. I'd known her for many years. Right around 6th grade, Liz got absolutely giant tits. Okay. Some of the biggest tits you've ever seen.
For 6th grade.
Especially on a 13-year-old, right?
Yeah.
One day, I don't know what happened here. I don't know if it's true, but
there were allegations.
There was some
she went
allegations.
to the principal and said that Mitri grabbed her tits.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there was an investigation, and Mitri got fired, swearing up and down he did not grab her tits.
That's what he told us in class.
Yes.
He told you guys.
Literally said you're gonna hear things, they're not true.
Yeah.
It was like great, and then he gave us a pizza party where he would lick his fingers and hand out the pizza. Nobody ate the pizza. He would take the first slice, put it down.
I love
and
that you
hand it.
both have different perspectives because you're in the class.
I'm in the
above
class next
him.
door. Yeah.
You're in the class above Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting psychopath shit going on.
So Mitri's fired now. Goes into exile. My friend Mike, who loved Mitri, loved all his stories, loved stories about being in this band Blotto, and loved his music, loved talking to him about like classic rock and metal. He would keep up a correspondence with Mitri for years to come. They'd write emails to each other and kind of developed a real friendship over time.
Yeah.
Very nice of
They
Mike.
never stopped talking. Every so often, because Staten Island, as much as it is a suburb of New York City, and there's probably more people living in Staten Island than there are in Montana.
There's more. It's
yeah.
almost 500,000 people.
Yeah.
It's more than the population of Pittsburgh.
It's still
Yeah.
kind of like a small town.
It feels that way.
We all know each other.
Yeah. I would run into Mitri on the street every so often. One time I saw him walking through my neighborhood, and I went, "Mr. Mitri," and then he spun around, and he went, "Michael?" He doesn't know who I am,
Yeah.
right? And he just
Well, it's just a long.
he was just
hair at the
hoping to see
time.
Michael, my friend, who was not with me at the time. I'd see him in like supermarket parking lots.
We saw him in the supermarket.
Yeah. And like occasionally I'd talk to him, just be like, "How you doing?" One time, my mom, who was a manager at Applebee's New York, Mr. Mitri walks in, tries to get a job at Applebee's. My mother interviewed him, and he was so fucking fucked up and bizarre that they could not hire him. It just wasn't going to work. But yeah, so now let's fast forward a little bit.
Yep.
Now
You guys are in your 20s.
I'm
right?
18.
Oh, 18. All right. I thought you guys
Yeah.
were a little older.
We were in our 20s.
Yeah, I was like 18, 19 years old, something like that. I'm in college now.
Aunt G, the college years.
Yeah. The brief time I was in college. Mike calls me up and he says, Mitri has contacted me. One night only. He's going to the Muddy Cup. The Muddy Cup is
It's a bar.
It's a bar, coffee shop / like music venue.
Very
on
small.
the North Shore of Staten Island.
Very small.
He's going to perform. We need to go to this. This is what he says to me. And I said, looks like I'm cutting school. We're going to see Mitri. So me, Mike, the P-Man. If you're familiar with the show, you know who the P-Man is. And the P-Man's brother. Those two guys
don't know.
No fucking clue who Mitri is other than what they've heard from Mike and me.
Which is high praise.
Yeah. We go to see Mitri. We pull up outside the place. He pulls up in a broken down car from the 90s. And it's got a rag for a gas cap. It doesn't have a gas cap. And he gets out and he's rocked out. He's like wearing the leather. He's got his guitar. And we go up to say hello. He says, oh, Mr. Mitri, how you doing? And he goes, I'm not your teacher anymore. Call me Charlie. And Pat, the P-Man, goes, how about Chuck? Can we call you Chuck? And he goes,
of course.
I'm not a piece of dog food. Call me Charlie. So what do you play? So where's your band? What are you guys playing tonight? He goes, no band, just me. Solo electric. Solo electric. One of my favorite fucking phrases. Solo electric. Yeah.
He has to say electric because he only played acoustic for the kids.
Pat's brother turns to me and he goes, did he just say solo electric? Now, if you're not musically inclined, let me explain something to you. You can't do solo electric. That's not like how you do songs. Like it's just gonna be noise. Yeah.
You're supposed to do solo acoustic.
Now, this date just so happened to coincide with Game 2 of the 2009 Yankees World Series.
Okay.
No, actually, no. I'm sorry. I think it was the winning game. It was the game where they won the World Series.
Really?
So that you can give the exact date.
And you guys don't give a shit.
No, we don't care. We're not sports fans. We don't give a shit. We're here to watch Mitri.
But the rest of Greater New York does.
So we walk in, and he says to us, "I'm so glad you guys are here because when I heard the Yankees were playing tonight, I thought." Oh boy!
This event took place November 4th.
Yeah,
2009.
November 4th, 2009. A date that will live in infamy.
The Yankees beat the Phillies 7-3 to win the World Series.
We walk into the venue, and there's no one there, not a soul. It's us, the four of us, and Mitri. There was a couch in the place. So we sat down on the couch, the four of us.
It's almost like Friends.
And I watched this man do like the epitaph of his own life on stage for 2 hours.
You're missing some details.
I'm not done.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
He performed some of his hits from the classroom. He did Last Man Standing. He did Thrashing
Solo Electric.
Solo Electric. He can't play. Either he never knew or he had forgotten how to play guitar because he's just making sounds on stage. Completely unmusical sounds.
It's a crime this wasn't filmed.
Didn't know the lyrics to song. Oh, and he did a slew of covers. Like he's all classic rock covers. Like we're hearing The Who, we're hearing Zeppelin, we're hearing fucking
Hotel California,
the Rolling Stones, the Eagles, all that shit. But he didn't know lyrics, and he would flip the page. He had a music stand with a book of lyrics on it, and he would just flip pages. So he stopped playing to flip pages. It's very unpleasant to watch something like that. He also had a cold.
This is this is my favorite part because it's so grotesque.
Watching him play his heart out.
Didn't the P-Man's brother have to walk out? He couldn't take it.
We're watching him play his heart out, and snot starts coming out of his nose.
I have to
mid-song.
say, he doesn't have a cold, by the way.
Whatever's wrong. I don't know what's
That
wrong.
was a regular basis thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm watching as he plays fucking like Won't Get Fooled Again. Right? And he's singing his song, and the snot is just coming lower and lower and lower, and it hits his lip, and he just goes and just eats that up. And just fucking gets it. Absolutely grotesque.
It was all the time.
Played a full set 1 hour. We're like, thank God we did that. It's over. Let's be polite. We'll say goodbye.
You did a good deed.
And we walk outside. Chris,
P-Man's
brother, just, we got to get the fuck out of here. We got to get, because Mitri said to us, hang out. I'm going to see if they'll let me play another set. And Chris is begging. We got to get out of here. We got to get, this is too fucking weird. This is too bizarre. We got to get out of here. Mike is like, I can't.
Yeah.
I got to be here. Because also, in with the old songs and the covers, he had some new songs, and they were all about him stalking a woman. So there was a woman, he told us all this on stage.
He told us in person.
He met her online. She moved to California. He showed up at a house in California. She told him to go home. He's going back. This was his big farewell. He was leaving New York forever. He's going to go to California, be with this woman.
He told him to leave.
And one of the songs he wrote, she wrote a blog post or like a Facebook post, something like that. I don't know. This might have been before Facebook. I don't know. But she wrote like a Zanga maybe about losing a loved one. So he wrote a whole song about losing a loved one and what that means and what it is. Later found out it was her dog. Right. So, sure enough, he got the approval for the second set since there's no one else there. So we sat for another hour.
Solo electric.
2 hours of solo electric. It's the weirdest night of my whole life. I think about it often. I absolutely adore this memory.
Now, if Chris waited outside the entire second set.
No,
if I remember. Oh, no. I thought he was like hiding.
He did try for a little while, and he gave up and came back in. Yeah. We left that night thinking we would never see him again because he was going to California. About, I don't know, 5 months later, I'm with Steve.
We saw him.
We're at 7-Eleven in New Dorp, and we see him walking through the ShopRite parking lot across the street. And we fucking ran him down. And we were like, Mitri has no memory of me.
Doesn't know you.
Doesn't know who I am.
You were at his last.
I was at his last show.
I was his student.
Yeah. And he looks just terrible. He looks like skin and bones. Yeah.
He looked like he'd been through the rain.
Yeah. He was always a big dude, and
he was thin.
And I'm like, what happened with the girl? And he told me, I went out there and she found some other guy, and he had to come back.
But there was a silver lining. Do you remember the silver lining?
What was the silver lining?
About the followers.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
He said that the guy that took his place was losing followers every day. He's also a musician.
Social media followers.
Yeah, so he's losing social media's followers by the day.
Yeah.
Mitri gaining 4 female followers every day. 4 female fans a day.
He's losing 2 fans a day. Mitri's gaining 4 females a day.
Yeah.
That's his trajectory. And we were like, what?
Over the next year, I think I saw him about 3 times around. Like I would go to, because now we're older, we're going to bars and stuff. I'd see him at bars. Here and there, nothing much to tell there until one night I'm working at the Bees. Okay. I'm wiping a table down. I'll never forget this moment. I'm wiping a table down, and the people sitting at the table next to me, as I'm, wiping it down, I'm listening to their conversation. And one of them says to the other, hey, did you hear that teacher that got fired from IS-34 all those years ago is dead? And my heart sinks. I'm like, no, it can't be. So I'm like, are you talking about Mitri? And they're like, yeah, he's dead.
And you're like,
and I'm like,
what?
no. And sure enough, his obituary is in the paper that day. Apparently, he had been dead for like 2 weeks. And they just found his body in his house.
No one knew.
Sitting in a chair. Not a friend in the fucking world. His obituary is out there. You can look him up, Charlie Mitri. I've done it over the years. I've gone back to it. Yep. Read about his life. He had a brother. Just the saddest soul in the world.
So sad. But Mike was his friend.
Mitri.
I remember like profoundly affected like you, Mike, and Pat.
Yeah. Because it was just like this important thing was that show.
Yeah.
You know, and just knowing this man's story for so long.
It was probably the last show where he felt somebody appreciated him.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did a good deed.
The day that Lane Staley died.
Well, it's still comical.
From Alice in Chains. The day Lane Staley died, who died in a very similar way. Just alone in his apartment. Probably been there a couple of weeks. The day we all found out about that, I was talking with Mike outside of Mitri's classroom. This was in 2002.
Yeah.
And Mitri came out and I had a conversation with him about it. And then his death mirrored that. And it always like resonated
weird.
with me. Yeah. On like my third date with my wife, I told her this entire saga.
And she's like, this is the man I'm going to marry.
She kept waiting for the happy, like, funny part. And it never came. And I'm laughing my ass off telling the story.
It's here now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is funny, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like, what the fuck?
How did she marry you? Let me tell you a sad story about a man who died alone in a love.
We laughed at him constantly.
This may be me if this doesn't work. What do you say, Toots?
Charlie Mitri, wherever you are, sir,
Rest in peace.
I love you.
Rest in peace.
Even if you did grab that child's tits. I don't know if
he might.
Allegedly.
What do you think?
I don't think he did it.
What I heard.
I think the faculty hated him. That's what he said when I asked him about it.
He said he tripped.
He said that the faculty used it as an excuse to get rid of him because they despised him.
Because he kept pissing himself?
Maybe.
He said he kind of tripped, fell, and kind of went to reach and, accidentally did a thing. And then, she complained.
Do you know Liz today?
No. I haven't seen her since high school.
Have you ever thought about just DM her and be like, I gotta know? It's like
I'm gonna look her up.
It's been 30 years. I don't want to be weird. But can you tell me what happened? Remember me?
We need to know. It's important.
How about Chuck? Can we call you Chuck? Not a piece of dog food.
Piece of dog food.
These lines. Now, I wasn't there for any of this. This was all told to me.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the song throughout the entire movie.
Yep.
Last man standing.
I think of, because I'm friends with Chuck Staten.
Mm-hmm.
It pops into my...
Oh, yeah. If you hear the name Chuck, how do you not think of that line?
Every time. I'm not a piece of dog.
Not a piece of dog food. Michael, I'm not your teacher anymore.
Solo Electric has been a consistent
quote. It's so funny.
Did he say Solo Electric?
The snot running down.
Dude.
He wasn't sick. I'm surprised everyone thought he had a cold. That's what's normally.
I remember because I was choking back laughter because I didn't want to laugh at because it's so uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it's just the four of us watching this man play his soul.
Dude, that was my
history
education. That was my education. I think that's why I hated history.
Punching my leg to hurt myself so that I wouldn't laugh. And it's just to not be rude. It was fucking intense, dude. That night is a definitive moment for me.
All right.
Anyway, Texans.
I knew this detour was coming. The second this movie
was a detour. It was a detour, definitely.
But it had to happen.
The Texans, they try to do a truce, and they're And Travis is like, "Fuck you! Fire the 18-pounder."
No.
Yeah.
And they just fire at him.
He's not allowing a truce
Yeah.
to happen. We're fucking fighting.
That's pretty awesome from Travis.
Yeah,
He's
It's-
like, fuck you.
It's sick.
because they're dead anyway. Even if they try to do a
We're
truce, they're going to be
dead.
executed. So whatever.
Yeah, they're gonna get captured. Yeah.
Most of them will be executed, if not all of them, because that's what they've been doing. So fuck it. You know, you get a cool death to the traitor flag raised.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's that's kind of intimidating. You know.
And now it flashes to Sam Houston. And
Well, not yet.
oh, not yet. No, I'm sorry. They're just asking about Houston. Is he gonna come?
Yeah.
Oh, he'll come. Yeah,
well,
yeah.
Bowie's got pneumonia. Yeah.
Yeah, Bowie's
I've
sick.
got pneumonia. Jim Bowie.
Alamo City.
I'm
Yeah,
afraid of Mexicans. I'm afraid of a war.
Yeah, and I guess they're like, yeah, well, Houston's gonna come back us up. Let's defend it anyway. The band. This is an important part when you don't think it's gonna be. They start playing like, oh, it's really nice of them, and then a bombardment happens like right after.
Yep.
Yeah.
Really, really.
Well, I like that
tricky.
Crockett gets the fiddle and he's like outplaying him almost.
Later on, yeah.
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 Right now, it's just like terrifying. Like, hey, we're gonna play some
sleeping.
a song called "Slit Their Throats" or something like
Yeah.
that. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
song means slit throat.
The guy from the Moors.
yeah,
Yep.
sick. It's intimidating. That's intimidating. You know.
And Wilson and Bowie have a talk where they kind of come like to an understanding with each other. Like, look, we got to fucking put this shit behind us, or we're all gonna die here.
Yeah.
And Crockett sees Santa Ana through like a telescope, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Well, Santa
a
wants to
looking
move
glass.
up.
He wants to move the
He
cannons.
wants to move the
forward.
cannons forward,
more
and they're like,
effective.
"Hey, you know Crockett's there, right? Like, we can't just go forward." He's like, "Yeah, we can. Watch."
His reputation precedes him.
And it just
He takes a,
He takes a
shot, and he
shot.
just misses.
it takes off the shoulder pad, and he goes, "The wind kicked up."
Yeah. But that's
His-
like
His lapel.
that's like
bad.
one of the few moments where Crockett has like his like
That's how you know he's not a fucking
Yeah,
fraud.
he's not fraud.
yeah. But I love that there's the legends about him where it's like he can leap 20 buildings. It's
Leap
like
over the Mississippi.
Yeah.
the Mexicans are like Superman is in there. Are you
Yeah.
fucking nuts?
Yeah, and then they almost kill the commander, like just saying it. That has to instill another thing of fear. Like, oh, he is Superman.
Like, dude, Superman is in there. We cannot fucking go in there.
How do the Mexicans know who's in there?
well, they hear about it.
Well, word
Yeah.
travels, you
I
know?
guess. Yeah.
They get really excited.
I do like that moment when there's some reinforcements that come.
Yes, that's a good moment.
And we find out that Santa Ana had deliberately left the way open for them to get through,
Mhm.
hoping that it would be Sam Houston's army so that he could crush it right
That's
there.
what he wanted.
Yeah. But instead, it's
He was
just-
trying to pick
it's
his
like 100
battleground. Yeah.
Actually, I don't even think I think it's like 30 guys.
Yeah, it's
It was
not many.
30 to 36.
Yeah, the official number I think is somewhere between 180 and 200 Texan defenders that died at the Alamo,
I think it was 30. It was 32 men.
and they
that
took
arrived.
with them like over 1,000 Mexicans, like 10 to 1.
So the
That's those
Republic
forts,
of
man.
the Republic of Texas had between 185 to 260 people. All were killed. And the Mexicans say there were 60 killed, 250 wounded. The Texans say there were between 400 and 600 killed and wounded. I think the Texan numbers actually make more sense considering the battle that comes next.
Agreed.
I always thought it was more. That seems light.
No, that's
whatever.
Well, there was only it was like 1,000 force, you know?
Yeah.
That's actually a big chunk.
I mean, that's huge. So this is the thing that I got a little weird, like confused about, because I don't know if this is historically accurate or not. I guess Ant will probably chime in here. Quaid, Houston,
I am
Quaid.
Quaid.
is like, like before we go to the Alamo, we have men that we could defend them with, but we need independence first.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't understand. Why not just go and defend?
I don't know if it's occurring
know?
concurrently in that moment. I think it's more
He doesn't have the army to go to like be effective.
Well, he didn't have an equal army, but he had guys.
Yeah, but it wouldn't have been like if they go and have whatever guys they can muster killed, then the revolution's over.
Yeah.
In the movie, he wants it to mean something.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, I think there's a little bit of George Washington in him, and like looking at the past and being like, okay, if this goes on long, if we have years of fighting ahead of us, we're going to need foreign support. We need to declare independence. We're going to need, someone else to come in and get involved like the French did.
Yeah.
So
foreign support would probably just be
it would be the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense.
Be war hawks in fucking Virginia. Being
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are these guys traitors to America?
Texans?
No.
Because they're leaving the country to
They're leaving America to take over a fucking another country and then give it to America. They wanted statehood immediately.
Oh.
Yeah, they had the Texas Republic, but very soon. Like Texas Republic only lasts like 9 years. But they wanted into the US even before that. They wanted annexation. The federal government had a Whig president at the time. I think it was Buchanan, maybe? I don't know. But one of them, whoever was the president, did not want Texas because it would come into the state inevitably as a slave state and give the South way more power in the Union than the North. It was an anti-slavery guy who was in charge. It's not until James K. Polk comes in. Well, by that point, Texas is already in. But they had to do that whole thing where oh God, my fucking memory's getting all messed up because I'm thinking of the Kansas-Nebraska Act.
Okay, yeah.
But no, Maine came in as a free state, and I think maybe Texas came in as a slave state to like even it
balance out.
Yeah, but Texas definitely gave the South way more power.
Oh, I mean, as
far as the electoral college.
It's a huge voting block. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. It's like Aaron Burr. People say he's a traitor because he wanted to go to Texas and like form like a state there. So why are these guys?
Why is it different?
Yeah,
he wasn't a traitor. He was a traitor for killing Alexander Hamilton.
He's not a traitor for that.
They hated him for that.
It was a duel. A duel's a duel.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, he tried to create like his own kingdom.
He wanted to be king of Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a little different than like annexing land to the U.S.
But these guys weren't doing it for the U.S.
They were doing it for themselves.
I mean, if we get like 4 Toyotas and some mounted machine guns, we could probably take Canada. Reviewing History Kingdom.
Toyotas.
Yeah. Come on, you've seen them in the Middle East.
That's like what they're made for. Right?
Yeah.
All right, so
they send Juan Sugin. I don't know how to pronounce
Sanguine?
that. I don't think it's it's Sugin. I don't think that's sanguine. But it's Juan.
Sagan.
Telling us a lot about space.
Yeah, about the cosmos.
Send a message to the States. Space.
If you want to build a country, you must first create
invent the universe.
And so Juan goes out, and that's important later on.
Yes.
But Bowie and Davey, they have a nice heart-to-heart.
About like, hey, we're both legends.
Yeah, well, we're cool, right? And Bowie's like, yeah, and he kind of falls, and it's like, oh, Bowie, no.
Yeah, he's got the consumption.
How many times do I have to fucking go through Bowie death?
I'm in heaven. Fucking thing on his eyes. I just listened to that album yesterday. Yeah, Black Star.
Good album.
It is a good album. I just bought it.
Oh yeah.
I've been getting into Bowie.
Bowie rules.
He actually does. Like I never knew this.
Beyond the hits, yeah. Bowie's
the hits
sick.
are good though.
Yeah, I know.
Bowie's sick.
But
Bowie is sick. He got sick badly. It's rough.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Yeah, Bowie's awesome. Black Star rules. I like Diamond Dogs a lot. Fucking sick.
Bowie to Bowie.
Can you hear me out there, man?
Can you use your nipples and antennas in space,
Send
Bowie?
dots back to Earth.
If you don't know what that was, Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah. Houston is like, we got a problem.
Yeah, he's got Static X guy with him.
Yes.
Wayne Static?
Yeah. You don't,
R.I.P. He's dead too.
Yeah, I know. You don't remember the courier?
He looks like Wayne
He has
Static.
He has the fucking Static X hair. You don't know what I'm talking about? You don't remember this dude?
Do you know what Wayne Static looks like?
Yes. He's like Goku Bear.
Yeah.
Totally does.
You're seeing a picture of it on the video
You
right
piss
now.
him off.
It's
He's
so
getting ready to
funny.
go Super Saiyan.
It's so.
How many more dead people can we bring up this show?
Yeah, I know.
It's
All the dead rock greats.
I mean,
Bowie,
it fits,
the
right?
Static X, the Chuck Mitri.
It's fitting. Right?
Don't call him fucking Chuck.
You're right. Fuck.
A piece of meat. Have some
Piece
respect.
of dog food.
Have some respect for the dead.
So Davy Crockett's like, yeah, I used to never wear the raccoon skin cap. I had to wear it after the play to like live up to the legend. You know, people expect this, and it's almost him like coming to grips with the legend and what it actually means. Almost.
Well, that's later. That's at the campfire you're talking about.
Yeah, we're kind of there.
He has to live up to the legend.
Well, we have a battle first. The entire Mexican army tries to fucking rush them.
No, they show up and they're like measuring strength.
Yeah, there's like
firing
artillery
lines.
duels.
Yeah, there's artillery.
There's not really a main assault.
Well, there's also an important thing where Davey goes out and starts burning down the huts. And
That's
almost,
right.
Oh, that's a great scene.
Yeah, he's almost killed.
Well, that's right now. Yeah.
Well, that's why he talks about it, because he's almost killed. He kills a person, and you actually see him feel really bad because he's never done it. That's what it seems like. But he has before, or like he hates doing it.
Where's Billy Bob been? Why haven't we seen him in years?
He's in Bad Santa 2.
Yeah.
Sucked. He's on some show that like boomers love.
Oh yeah.
It's like from the Yellowstone guy.
Oh really?
Where it's like he like
1823.
It's something like that where it's like, but he talks to like his Gen Z daughter, and she's like, "I love taking dick from guys," and he's like, "I'll tell you what, you're
like, well, as long as you do it responsibly, that's fine, because that's what the Yellowstone shit is."
It's like something to that effect. Yeah.
We've spent 8 seasons talking about getting our legacy and protecting our land rights. Let's hand it to Indians at the end and hope that they're nice to our gravestones. Wow.
Is that what happened?
That's what happens at the end of Yellowstone, yes.
Yellowstone's over? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, the reason why I wanted to talk about this scene, because it's very well done, but also very much part of the time, where he kills this guy. He kills like a kid. And he's like, "What's your name?" And he just dies before he gets an answer. But he's walking back into the fort, and everyone's cheering him on, and he's just so upset. And it's like, why are you cheering this? This is horrible, you know?
Oh, he killed
I think
the
this
young
is
kid.
this is an anti-war sentiment of the time.
Yeah, it's fine.
You know?
Well, I like there's
It
this.
humanizes the Mexicans, doesn't make them
should.
nameless
Yeah,
nothing.
it should.
You know.
Well, there's a scene where it's like he in the beginning when he first gets to camp, he sees like a little Mexican boy, and then he sees him again at the end when he's at the Alamo, where it's almost like, oh yeah, that's what I'm fighting for.
And he tells the story about besieging the Red Sticks
That's what he was about
and
to
the
mention.
potatoes and all that.
You want to talk about that one? That's a good one.
It's a good scene.
Sprinkle of cannibalism, but it's very
But it's
like Come and See. It's the exact thing of Come and See.
as far as Disney's concerned, that was pretty intense.
Yeah, I mean, he was like telling the story about the fucking shit.
Yeah.
About Come and See. Yeah. They literally force everyone into a house and burn it down. Like, it's exactly what it was.
That's probably another reason people don't like it. It's like an American hero did bad shit, and we're acknowledging like some of it.
Yeah, I don't think that's. I think people are mature enough to handle that. You know,
I think people get, especially in 2004.
nobody got mad when Benjamin Martin did it.
Benjamin Martin didn't put a bunch of civilians into a house and burn them.
No, but look what he did to the French and Indians when he was intemperate in his youth.
Okay, yeah. You're right. But he's a fictional character, and this is Davy Crockett, who like the thing everybody knows is like the song and like you know all that.
Davy Crockett,
King of the Wild Frontier.
But this one was interesting because they say like there was some potatoes underneath the shack, and the fat from the Indians went onto the potatoes and cooked them, and we feasted on it. So he was like partly a cannibal. And I think that's way more harsh than just saying he was a murderer.
Well, I think didn't he say I can't eat potatoes anymore or something? Like spit it out.
Whenever somebody passes potatoes, I just pass them right along.
Pass them right back because he has PTSD from eating human fat.
What if it was so good and that's the real problem? No other potatoes have measured up. I know this won't be as good.
Animal thing.
I'm just wasting my time eating these.
Yeah, imagine that campfire conversation when it's like you take one bite, you look at your friend like, does he like this? This is pretty good.
Mr. Crockett, why aren't you eating the potatoes? I have memories of potatoes so good you wouldn't believe.
Potatoes cooked in the fat of 1,000 engines.
It's like walking on clouds.
You've never had fine dining quite like this.
You know Land O'Lakes butter? Imagine you
skip the butter, shoot the Indian, and use her entrails to cook your potatoes.
The grease cannot be topped. It's succulent.
I take one potato in my mouth, I'll have an insatiable lust for more blood on those things.
That's a fine story, Mr. Crockett.
You're about to be slaughtered. You know you're gonna die, and this asshole's telling a story that he's a cannibal.
So now Santa Ana.
Anyway, I'm gonna go fiddle now and bring everybody to spirits.
Yeah, what do you think that song's really about?
So now Santa Ana goes and he's like, offer any natural born Mexicans the chance to leave.
Yeah.
Natural born Mexicans. Isn't that a Quentin Tarantino authored film?
Yeah. Ha! Ha! Ha!
I want to do jokes.
Yeah.
But about natural born Mexicans. But they're gonna get cut.
Yeah, so then he offers to let anybody who surrenders to leave.
Safe
I
passage.
like Bowie, and he goes to his slave. He's like, you can go once I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm coming back.
Oh, no, he lets him go. He says, you're my property, and
dead.
I'm going to come.
I'm coming back for you. Yeah.
The guy's like, yeah, sure, buddy.
He says, you're my property until I'm dead, so I'm sending you away. You go. He saves his life. It was a good thing.
He does save his life, yeah.
The other black dude stays behind with Patrick Wilson, who the movie you would not know is like the biggest pro-slavery guy ever. Yeah. In this, it's like, wow, he's really good to that slave. He really loves him.
Colonel Travis is going to hand me a gun. I'm going to go down and fight. No, he doesn't. We never see what happens to that guy if he does.
He hides.
I know, but does he get out?
No.
I think we have to assume he died.
I think I assume he got out.
No.
I assume that they all died.
Yeah, I guess.
They were killing sick people in bed. They didn't.
Jim Bowie's blasted him as soon as they opened the door.
He took out 2 motherfuckers.
That was pretty badass.
He took out 2 people.
That's a good way to go.
Yeah. Fuck you.
We will sell our lives dearly. I like that.
Oh, the Travis speech?
Yeah.
He says anybody could leave and not a single person.
Yep, they all stay.
Like, nope, we're staying.
He bites it on the ramparts pretty early on in the battle.
Oh, he dies early. Yeah.
I guess better that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, if you had to go.
You'd rather be shot than bayoneted?
Oh, yeah. It's probably quicker to die when you're shot than bayonet. Bayonet's going to take some time, as we've seen in All Quiet on the Western Front.
I love the scene where Davey Crockett's like talking about the legend. He's like, I'll settle for what I am now.
David from Tennessee.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's nice. It's good.
So
good scenes.
There's all these attacks and
bombardments and
yeah, I guess we could get into the battle. I mean, it seems pretty accurate.
As far as I can tell, this movie's very accurate, actually. Like, but what do we know? What went on? You know, inside the fort, everyone there died.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
you're taking a word of the enemy.
We know they took people with them.
Yeah.
Oh,
and there's some cool moments like Bowie when they charge into like his bed. He has like 2 flintlocks ready to go. He shoots, takes 2 of them before he dies.
That got me, Travis. They kill me.
Yep.
No, they kill me, Davey.
Yeah. It's a good fight.
Yeah. Crockett and his like last
Not a
group.
party.
It's not a party. No.
It's not a party.
Not
no.
a party at all. No, very.
Crockett charges.
Well, they don't charge. They fall back to the last position. They're overrun, and they have like a bayonet fight.
Well, they have like a bayonet
Kind of
charge.
like pans over and
It,
it
like,
goes
cuts
dark.
away.
Yeah, so you don't really see what happened.
At
but,
first, I thought
you
they
know.
die there, but they didn't.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping. That was the end. You know, and then they do a nice little send off for Davey.
Well, that's like some of my favorite shit in the movie, where he's there and he's just like, "Fuck you" to Santa Ana.
I thought
to
you'd
his
be
face.
taller.
I thought you'd be taller.
Yeah.
If you want to surrender to me now, you could. You know?
Which again, I like that because it's like his character arc throughout this is like reconciling with like his legend and
Right.
stuff.
And coming to accept it.
And coming to
being
accept
the
it.
beacon of hope to everyone else.
Exactly. And it's like when he sees Santa Ana, the first thing he's like, "Oh, I had heard legends about this guy. I thought he'd be taller."
Yeah.
And he looks around and he sees that even some of the Mexican soldiers are admiring him.
Like, oh my God,
Yes.
this is Davey Crockett,
Yeah.
celebrity.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know what? I'm going to be a symbol now. It's almost like
Yeah.
he knows he's going to be a martyr.
If these
Yeah.
are your last moments, go out like that.
Oh, he goes
You
out
know?
as boss as you could go out, right?
I'll let you know I'm a screamer.
Ah, yeah.
It's funny. It was well, it's cool. Not so much comical, but
But we can't end the movie there.
you can't.
Nope.
You can't.
Now-
Santa Ana is on the run, on the chase.
On the march.
He's chasing Houston.
Yes. He's got to take out Houston's army and put an end to this rebellion.
Yeah, they're a problem.
You are a rebel and a traitor.
You're part of the rebel
Rebel
alliance.
and
Take her.
all of Houston's commanders and captains, they're like, "Why are we running?"
Well, they all want blood.
Like, yeah, we
Yeah.
need to fight them head on. Why are we running? And then he says a nice little thing. He goes,
The beast
It's
keeps
like-
running,
"Well, no,
running,
it's
running.
Napoleon
running.
chasing Wellington."
Yes.
No,
You know?
yes, right, yeah.
And once they get to open field, it's a Waterloo
Battlefield
moment.
of his choosing.
We need a Waterloo moment.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's like, once they split up the army, then we'll hit
Mhm.
and take them out.
And I haven't decided what the battleground is yet, but once
Yeah.
I know it,
yeah, I'll
once
know
I
it.
see it, I'll know it.
What is your
Um,
name?
The actual Battle of San Jacinto, you don't really see it in the film, but the Mexicans had actually set up camp for the night.
Mhm.
And the Texans rush them with complete surprise.
We tend to do that.
um,
So that's just a general American
the battle
thing,
was
really.
over in 18 minutes.
Yep, they say that in the
They say
movie.
it, yeah.
They ran them into the river, the San Jacinto River, and slaughtered them.
Yeah.
I think it's like over 600 Mexicans got killed.
And they captured Santa
Santa
Ana.
Ana.
captured Santa Ana not long after. He escaped, but they ran him down.
They
with
wanted
the
to hang him.
cavalry. Yeah, but instead they
Just like in the movie.
Sam Houston forces him to sign
He says,
over.
I want
Jackson.
this to hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the movie, he says, "You'll settle for blood, but I want Texas. So you better
Santa
give
Ana-
me Texas."
To save his own life, gives away Texas.
All right, what
Imagine
happens
if he
if they
didn't.
kill him?
More war.
I don't know.
Probably more war. Another person would have stepped up.
He's the government. He is
Yeah.
like
Somebody else steps
they
up. You have
couldn't
more war.
have done a better than capturing him alive. You know,
Mhm.
I mean, what's
But-
the alternate? I guess they take all of Mexico after they kill him.
I mean, if they
Like, could Houston?
they're always worried about the Mexicans coming back.
The population, yeah.
You know, after the war.
Okay, yeah.
Santa Ana will return to Mexico City. He gets ousted because this is such a catastrophic failure. They depose him. He comes back.
They send him to Elba Island, right?
Well, they send him to America.
I know. I was making a joke about it.
Yeah.
They send them to
But
Highland Boulevard.
Texas is not safe. You know, it's got obviously Mexico.
You know what Santa Ana was doing in Staten Island? He was playing shows at the Muddy Cup. He's sitting there with his guitar, singing about like how he had them.
I was surrounding them.
He's
Half guitar, half like deaf poetry.
he's like one private, that he tutored. Miguel Antonio Patricio
And Chris.
and Chris.
But yeah, like the Texas like gets courted by like the British and the Spain and all these like they want a buffer state. but yeah, it's not. Obviously, the Texas Republic
They have
is
to
just like another United States.
Well, that's their
and-
government, right?
Yeah, and then 9 years later, they just formally get annexed by the U.S. and join up. So
And it was a peaceful annexation.
yeah. They wanted it.
Yeah.
They voted for it
It was like, hey, let's go back home, guys.
because now you don't need protection from the Europeans. 'Cause
Yes.
you're part of the USA.
So the end of the movie, Juan goes back to the Alamo. He buries his friend because he was stuck with the general, and you get some like nice little pieces of information of what happened.
Yep.
What do you rate this? Because I was
I liked
expecting it to be like a 6 movie. So I
It's
gave
an
it an
8.
8.
It's an 8.
I gave
It's
it
an
an
8.
8 out of 10.
Unanimous.
Solid, real solid. Yeah, unanimous.
Really
figured.
good movie. Enjoyable. I like the
Yep.
history. I like the
Yeah.
character shit. It's everything I could want. And it's kind of funny that like we're almost on a run where I think we did like Zulu, The Outpost, and this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of
And they're all
forts.
similar.
Siege movies.
A lot of
And
forts.
this is like the third, fourth.
This is the
movie.
first time
They
that
failed.
the besiegers won, though.
Yeah.
I love a good fort.
But you know, it's funny that we've been on like this fort run.
Maybe
know?
that's like in a weird way, subconsciously. We should build a fort. We want a fort. Let's buy some land.
No, let's get some cushions. And some
Oh, I
pillows.
love a pillow fort.
Yeah.
Pillow fort. Oh, you want to go? You want to go like fun with it? I was thinking maybe go to the border of Canada.
Oh,
Get ready. You know
you want to reactivate Ticonderoga?
how much would it cost?
A wooden fort.
Well, I'll pour some cement. Well, fuck, come on.
But all right,
good.
guys.
All right. I think you looked at it last time first, right?
Brian, I actually like this one.
Really?
Yes.
All right.
You didn't get.
It's
I
the
guess
Alamo.
It's the wall.
It's
the
the
wall's in
wall.
the way of the
It's
like
the
the
wall.
iconic
Yeah.
building.
There's a cross.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to draw. Like you know.
There's some people outside who one has 4 legs. One has a big dick. Look at that.
Oh, he's packing heat.
He's packing.
Yeah.
That was Santa Ana, I assume. You know.
Right. No, it doesn't seem like he doesn't have a furry hat. It's a fort or a birthday cake. Birthday cake. 2 candles.
For a guy
A
named
2-year-old's birthday.
Tim. Yeah, 2 candles. It's a Christian birthday.
Christian cake for somebody who's 2. That's it.
That's it.
Thank you. For everything, really.
This is
Especially our
coming out
Patreon.
this week.
Yeah.
Especially our Patreon members, you know. We love
Yes,
you guys.
thank you.
Guys.
Patreon.com/reviewing history.
Yes, and this week we have coming
You
out.
remembered it?
Yes.
This week coming out, we have a video I'm super excited about for people to see.
What is it?
Oh, which one?
It's a new show called The Future Is Now
Ah,
with me and Steve. This week we're doing Scanner Darkly.
It looks awesome.
Scanners.
it looks
Steve edited the episode and he made it look just like a Scanner Darkly.
Yeah,
I never saw
It's
the movie.
fucking sick. Like
Yeah, it's
I'm
cool.
so proud of this
awesome.
one.
It's cool.
Definitely check it out. Patreon.com/reviewing history. Sign up now. You'll get access to everything we've done and will do in the new month ahead. But this week, Future Is Now Scanner Darkly dropping
Check it out.
February 28th.
Futures now.
Even if you just want to do like a 1-month thing, check it out. This would be the episode to see. It's cool.
I think it's so worth it visually.
Yeah.
Like you definitely want to see this.
And the episode's good.
I wanna
think
see
I
it.
think it's a nice. I'll send it.
Wish
to you.
I had an account.
You do. You
have
have the
You
login.
have access to everything we do.
He's always like, I can't see any of this shit.
She's
I'm
like, I don't have the email address.
I say it every goddamn
Every week.
episode, and we use the same password for everything.
Everything. Don't tell them
I'm
that.
not. Yeah, well, it's tough to figure out what it is.
It would be hard, yeah, but you know.
I've never seen any of our stuff on Patreon.
If you can even ask me, I'll send it to you.
You have access to the drive too. I'm pretty sure you have access to the drive.
Yeah. All right. I want to give a big thank you to Tell 'em Steve, Dave, Brian, Walt, Q, Get 'em, last record down in the studio. We greatly appreciate it. Guys, go to patreon.com/reviewing history. Check it out. Subscribe. Find something good. Like and subscribe. Share. Tell a friend. Spread the good word. What's the good word, mate?
What's a good word?
Follow the show on all social media at RVUHDPod on Twitter, Reviewing History Pod everywhere else. Follow me personally on all social media at Brian Rupert. That's the 2 Ps. Follow me on Letterboxd. I rank and review every single movie I watch, even the ones in my personal life. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.